is doing in terms of giving the needed support to the police?
We are doing what we can do, our best to give support to our national security institutions. All right. Elections are here, and police security for elections is critical. We have an amount in the budget for elections. We've paid the amount for NAGBE. We are moving resources to the police to address the concerns around the election. Police funding is being prioritized. So I can tell you that
even before election, have they been given the
before
needed
election,
support?
police vehicles. You see, I mean, you got to give the government credit. You see a lot of vehicles coming. Again, you know, we got 1 million priorities. You need drugs, you need everything. I'm saying we developed the $120 million fiscal space. You take 51 million and put it into the election. That's money that could go all around. So next year, because you're not spending 51 million election, I just made a choice to we'll put all that money in education. We're not putting all into security. Someone will say, no, Mr. Don't put all that. Put 20 in the seat, so that where the budget fight will come. So the government is doing its best under the prevailing revenue regime. The challenges are bigger than the envelope. Yeah, even though we've done well to raise 3% of GDP, which is 120, we should move to around 250 more. Okay, but we're looking at other strategies to get us there. We're looking at an incentive regime. It all boils down to widening the pot. There are many things. You see the payroll audit. If we take 3,000 people from the payroll because they are ghosts, that's money for police funding. Have money for drugs. So the notion that, you know, the government is constrained. People would like to believe that because we have a budget and we say we're trying to stay within the budget, then I mean, the budget does not say that it solves the country's problem. If you did the resource mapping of what the country need, you're running to 2.5 billion. But you're running a budget of 700 million.
I don't know, Minister, I might be run on this. Yeah. I'm informed that since 2017, the police issue about uniform has been a very major problem. Have you settled that issue?
Yeah, the police, the uniform process is going on. Yeah.
Since 2017, have you done something in that direction?
Yeah. The police got money for the uniform, new uniforms. Yeah. The police right now, there's some of the uniform problem. You're going to see new uniforms on police. You're going to see new vehicles with police. You're going to see all of that. Yeah.
Now, Minister NAGBE, Commissioner NAGBE, there's this concern. I know we spoke about the other sectors, but we haven't heard from the both of you on the agriculture sector. Where are we? How much intervention? Because there's this concerns that lots of money been placed into that sector and just little people are saying.
I mean, the agricultural debate in Liberia is a perennial debate. It's true that the sector is challenged. There's resources. One of the things the president did when he met the development partners is to put it to the partners that, look, I've analyzed the amount of resources in the sector. It's huge, so we all need to rethink. And part of that rethinking has been re-engineering several programs that were there, with the World Bank, with the IMF. We even took money from the sector and brought it onto roads because there is a link between roads and agriculture. So if you don't fix the road, how will agriculture flourish? It was on that logic, recommendation from the president to rethink some of the World Bank program. So some of the money on the Ganta Treasury Road, part of that is coming from money that were allocated for agriculture. Then currently the World Bank is, I think we have around 35 million on the Ministry of Agriculture that farmers are receiving in real time right now. About 5 million of that money is being disbursed. This is under a redesign. Look, there is a committee of international people with, I think, Deloitte and TWEAH, government, everybody around the table to vet agriculture projects. That's a new development. It wasn't happening. So before you get the money, they are going in the field to verify your project, verify your farm. So previously, we're probably giving money and not getting the result. Now, under this dispensation, monies are being given to real actors who are supposed to expand the farm, add value to the product. Then we have recently signed a new $30 million exclusively for rice. So what I'm telling you is that the logic of the sector is changing, has changed under the mandate of the president, because we're saying we need to directly impact the sector. We don't want to sign loans and grants for agriculture and still see the persistence of the problem. That has been the insistence of the president, and we are getting there. The sector is huge. I think there are much more development in the sector than we give credit for. So the agriculture survey is coming out. all right, to see how much production is here. You saw all the feeder roads I talked about? That's because of agriculture, we made those investments. But the data situation is still not too clear about how we are doing. So until a comprehensive agriculture survey is done, so you see the situation, sometimes we may be beating ourselves too much, but we want to see, let the data speak. When the survey ends, we used to do that survey when I was an economist. I wrote the constraint analysis on a lot of those surveys. They stopped. So we got to look at, when you get the survey up, you get the monies, you assess how much is going there, and then you tell a bigger story. But the real story is that the right situation is what we use to judge agriculture, meaning until we are able to produce rice that is competitive relative to the international market, we don't believe the agricultural program or agriculture can be built a success. So that's a challenge that we acknowledge here publicly, that, as we're in the last 2 years, we've done some re-engineering, redesigning, and COVID also has not helped us. COVID has delayed some of our momentum, but we will stand this sector up. To put 1 million Liberians to job, to put 500,000 Liberians to job, they're not going to come from SLM. They're not going to come from expansion of B Mountain. Those 500,000 Liberians are going to come from the agriculture space. That is where you got to put people to work. And that is what the new plan is going to be.
Do you have a term tech that you're looking at?
No, right now, we're going to elections. We're now talking with partners
After you
on
are re-elected.
On a new development plan. What the logic of this new plan going to be? One of the things is that this new plan is going to move away from many of the big things that we've done. So in the agenda for transformation under the Unity Party 12 years or 6 years, the second term, there was a lot of emphasis on big infrastructure things. In our PAPD, there's also a lot of emphasis on big infrastructure. What we're trying to say now is, look, the country's development has to go down to, because you put a Buchanan Road there, doesn't mean that jobs will be created because of that Buchanan Road, or agriculture will grow, because we have seen since Buchanan Road, we don't see farms. So the assumption that when you place a road somewhere, private sector will go in, it's not holding up. So the new plan has to say, okay, we'll put a road there, but the plan is not about putting a road there. The plan is about assuming the road gets there. What happens to pay for the road? So AFT didn't do that. PAPD also took some assumptions about that big assumption that the private sector will move in. What we now know is that the private sector will not move in. Even when you relax a constraint, you have to hold the hand of the private sector to help them to leverage that constraint, do it for some time, then move your hand from there as a government. That is the approach that the PAPD, the new PAPD, the new development plan is going to take, looking at what we call the productive sectors. So that's agriculture, that's rubber, that's cocoa, that's fisheries. All right. So we're working with all our partners to move all of their projects in line to create jobs in our investment climate. This is what. So it's going to be about the small things in the new plan. Fishery, how many jobs do we have in fishery? What are the bottlenecks? Fish farmers, do they have access to finance? And why they don't have access to finance? Why banks don't want to give them so that they can invest in 3 more boats? That level of detail, small issues, is what the new plan is.
It's a long-term approach.
But the long-term, but not just the structural, but going underneath, in the forest, you go under the bush, all the way there. That's what a new plan is. And we'll soon be launching with the partners who call the tribals of development. And so that's where we're going to go.
Okay, let me move to Commissioner NAGBE. Let's look at the President Pro Housing project and that of the market buildings in the country. Is it money from the president, or is something in the budget?
The implementing agency for these interventions is the Liberia Agency for Community Empowerment, which is a statutory government body. And this is implementing most of these interventions. When the president when he made the country tour, the people of Liberia came back to him and said, these are our priorities. So based on what the people told him, we have a list of interventions that are to be made. And this is implementing these projects, which are very impactful. If you look at the pro housing in places like Grand Crew, in Granjide, and other parts of Bonk, the impact that it has made to these people, who had never had the opportunity to live with proper roof over their heads. And with the market women are very critical to our country's development. They actually drive the economy, so to provide places for them to apply their trade, is quite important. So yes, like Minister TWEAH said, we'll do the big ticket items, but those things that are directly impactful to the people are also very critical. So the pro housing, the market buildings that are being done all over the country are a direct result of what the people asked Mr. President for when he made his most recent county tour.
So is it in the budget or it's something done by
yes.
himself?
No, it's in the budget. There are some projects that he's undertaking by himself. Like the Invisible Park, he funded it with some support from some of his friends. But with the major activities being carried out by the Liberia Agency for Community Empowerment, they are in the budget.
Okay.
And it is budget funded.
Okay, let's move on to something very important.
1 minute. Commissioner NAGBE, you are spokesperson.
Yeah.
Minister TWEAH, you are spokesperson.
And you too.
No, I'm not talking about me. I'm not on the spotlight right now. Yeah, I don't think the government has done much when it comes to the development of sports in this country, because sports have hit rock bottom.
I disagree with you.
Well, I'm sitting in the driver's seat. I'm the president of the Olympic Committee.
Yeah.
And in your national budget, right here in Togo, I was in Togo 3 months ago. In Togo, the national budget for the Olympic Committee is $5 million.
Yeah.
In Liberia, give me a break. In Liberia, the national budget for the Olympic Committee is $1,000. Okay, it can even pay for one athlete, because we have athletes that the government doesn't even know about.
It's not accurate.
It's not accurate.
Because if you look at the fiscal outcome report of the government, it's not accurate that we haven't paid for one. The last Olympic that Liberia participated in, was it the $1,000 that allowed them to participate?
You think the Olympic Games is not? It's not
separate.
There's a road leading to the Olympic Games.
So, but
government paid $90,000 to get the athletes to go there.
Say 1,000.
No, I'm saying in your national budget. Look in your national budget.
So where the money came from now? It had to be reallocated. The money for you to run your administrative office is separate from the intervention in sports. Now, if you say it hit rock bottom, when the government spend money to fix the track at the SKD, it means it is providing an avenue for people to train and for new athletes to come about. When the government builds a park for volleyball, where people, young Liberians as young as 5 years old, can now go and train, it means the government is attacking sports from the proper area, the grassroots. And that has been the president's approach. He said, look, I came up the highway. I had to play in Claratown, in the muddy pitch. Yet I could go up and become the world best. Look at 8 years before, when you used to go and see the ball-headed field. Did it provide avenue for anybody to actually develop? So these are the things that he looked at and said, let's use the grassroots approach. Tusa Field, Invincible Park, West Point, Claratown. Because if you provide these things in the communities, then you build new athletes. Then we can go now to the next level. Somebody say, well, why did he build a stadium for $500 million? The whole national budget, you should use it to build one stadium that will have less impact than these community pitches and community.
So present programs to leverage this. Now you are the president
of
the Olympic Committee.
So
present programs using these things so that children can learn how to play tennis, can learn how to swim. The government will come.
Mr. Minister, with due respect, those programs are there. So give me a break. Give me a break.
We should be having competitions for elementary students. Children should don't put water in. Don't put water in the equator. Let me tell you something. The children who can swim with back and red and put it in the water, you think they can go to Olympia and win?
Minister,
give me a program. We support it.
You want to support it?
No, but how you not saying you want? I'm just saying a logical program.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
There's one no amount of talk.
No,
you said you're 1,000 teams of 90,000.
I'm saying to you, You take volleyball that you are talking about. Volleyball, you got $300 in the national budget. The national volleyball team. Take football.
No, but when it went to Abidjan, they are not 3,000.
You know how many chess players are rated in Liberia now?
You are talking about taking
we got tested chess players rated internationally on the day.
Right? You are not prepared.
Listen now, before George Weah, you had 0 chess players rated. We now have 40 chess players rated in Liberia.
No, but
what are you talking about?
We gotta be accurate.
Look at football.
You can't say 3 governments.
You got $500,000 for football.
Correct, it will be wrong.
Yes.
You cannot say $3,000 spent on volleyball.
I said $300
Otis.
in the national
So
budget.
can $300 carry 15% to Abidjan? How did it go?
$1,000 in the national budget.
No, but it's not true.
It is.
Because the team went to Abidjan. How did it go? They walked. So you can't say
When the team is going, right?
No, but call that money
Before the
just
team
call
leaves, the team
$300.
has to practice. You are not supporting the team. Look at football. Let's come to football.
I can tell you that we are going to spend more money on Lone Star and on football in general than any of his predecessors. If you want to count the money,
but the SKD that hosted Nigeria and Sierra Leone yesterday, and recently the people say we're playing other football country. Well, George will reverse that now.
Don't say that.
Yes,
coming here.
That's not true. I'm here. I'm in the driver's seat.
Oh,
every time Lone Star play, we spent over $150,000.
But when your impression was yesterday, again, the fact that we are now hosting, few they were under criticism. But emphasize that.
We need to do better in that sector.
We agree.
We were given the challenge.
We need to do more.
Okay, this one, no amount of this is not a part of your success story.
It is.
On the government
we spend 3 or 4 million to get SCD. The other people spend, I think, 20 million. Again, at the same thing, you had 20 million, you did less. We had 3 million, we produce miracle. So how we doing it? Let the country understand as a president, how you say that somebody can spend 20 million, we see much, but you can spend 3 million and look at SKD today and tell that we have international game. That is the success story of where we are.
Of sports in this country under the George Weah government should have been high. The expectation is extremely low because right now, like I said, sports are hit rock bottom. I'm sitting in the driver's seat.
No,
there's one thing nobody can.
We in the back.
I have that debate with me.
We in the back.
Look
for Olympics.
We're spending millions on sports.
No, that's not true.
Where were you?
Where is
to revamp SKD alone. To revamp SKD alone. We spent over $3 million. Where is it going? Every time Lone Star plays.
I'm challenging you in that IOC election.
Nobody.
Announcing my bid now. I will tell you. I will run for the IOC so we can take it. So we tell you that money.
All that we spend on grassroots.
Commissioner NAGBE,
and that's the way for sports to improve. Not from the top, but from the bottom. You got people get brave ball. Then they will go play for Lone Star. You got to start to treat them at the rudiment.
I think Faber Brown is
He's talking about the money to run his office.
Sports is
no, that's not office.
So in his opinion, we should not be where we are in terms of sports because it is the president's master starter.
Yes.
This president will not be. Listen to me.
Okay.
George Weah defined himself on the football field, and the world knows him. He won Ballon d'Or. He was the best player in Africa.
Yeah.
He is not going to be defined in his presidency because of football. He is going to be defined because of macroeconomics. He is going to be defined because of roads. He's going to be defined because of free tuition. That is where the legacy is.
You want to be defined.
And we all concur to the football.
This is what you master. This is what you pay.
But football has to work.
Some Liberians who are outside the country, they hear themselves on a George Weah. They can't talk somebody to, once you say Liberia, a lot of people
visa when you go to the decks in Dubai. They say, where you from? He said Liberia. He said, oh, George Weah. The guy brought a picture and passed through. So yes, that has been established. Yeah. But I've told you the president's approach is that the game has to be developed from the grassroots from the community. Okay, that's why we put all these community things. That's why we put it there. You can start from the top.
Commissioner Namwe.
Samuel Tola said he will contest as LOIC, NOC president.
Man, you know how many years he been there?
But Samuel Tola is not president of anything. He just contest.
What man?
That man will die now.
No, I was telling you, I mean, I was recruiting you now, man. My
No, but you gotta form one team now.
But I was sitting here coming down.
Okay,
So to be honest with you, let's be clear. The invisible park, many of the invisible park was funded by the president. Let me be clear. We always see some people are spreading. Where you see the khaki, the olive green, are here to fight falsehood, because people have tried to bring this president down on the basis of lies, and we know the lies that have happened in this country. But I'm happy that the Liberian people no longer believe the lies, so they are flat-footed. They are still been out there spreading lies on their Facebook pages and saying that the invisible park was built from government budget. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. We're very clear on that one.
Okay, you made that clarity already. Now we want to hear from the both of you regarding your success story on gender and social protection. No, but I mean you can answer that.
No, I mean, go ahead.
No, firstly, we one of the success story in social protection is how the funding for those who are very poor, the extremely poor, have been reorganized, so that those vulnerable communities identified in many counties, like in Bumi, in Maryland, they are receiving actually now direct support, because the idea is that if you want to lift somebody from extreme poverty, one of the best ways to do it is to give them money directly instead of setting up workshops and programs that are not impactful to them. And one of the projects has been run by our partners and the Ministry of Gender. We have impacted, I think, the last over 20,000 persons through direct deposit and on the social protection side. In addition to that, on protecting vulnerable women, the Ministry of Gender has created several safe houses, and young women who have been abused and who are vulnerable have somewhere now to go to handle that. On the higher levels, there is an ongoing project with the EU, for women empowerment and for the eradication of sexual and gender-based violence. It's still a challenge. There are a lot of barriers, including cultural issues and cultural perceptions. But with the establishment of the Women and Children, strengthening of the Women and Children Division of the Police, and also at the Ministry of Gender, we see now there are more prosecutions, because sometimes you create the law. More successful prosecution of those who are committing these acts to serve as a deterrent, and that has, if you look at has it impacted sexual and gender-based violence. So there is a matrix that shows that with more prosecutions, you deter would-be violators, and that has been the success story that the Minister of Gender has achieved.
Yeah, and the transparency involved in that. Look, you got to be clear. What this regime has done, and we launched, I think, a roadmap on sexual, gender-based violence. 3 years ago, that was launched. There are clear successes coming out of that. One of the successes is that more information is now available. To combat the rape situation, it is only as good as the information you have. And all the government, citizens, all have to be informed. In a household, 2 midnight in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, an uncle goes to molest a little girl. That's a violation of the law, right? Who has that information? The household. The government knows nothing about that. Unless people in the household are alarmed and bring that situation to the attention of the Minister of Gender and the government, it's very difficult for the government to just believe that every midnight some uncle is molesting some child, so we're just going to randomly break into the homes and arrest the people. We depend on information. When you provide the information, so everybody here has a responsibility. We're telling all family people to report people who are molesting children. When they report those people, the government will prosecute them. So the rape situation in Liberia It's not like the kind of restitution in America where people usually go and break into the home and they see the women and go and rape them. They think family people all inside. Cultural things. So people telling you, say, oh, when you hear the story, they say, oh, don't carry them, don't carry you. Oh, no, you bring the family down. So keep it. The Ministry of Gender is fighting that. So the NGOs and the civil society organizations should be fighting to break that chain of silence in families and help the government, because nobody should touch any innocent child. Whether you're the father, you're the uncle, you're of that child, you don't have a right to do so. So we will protect you as a government, and the Ministry of Gender has developed the registry and the databases for working. The government has put some money into it. The government has brought DNA machines. For the first time in the country, in the government, in the country's history, we can do DNA here because we got a DNA machine that Joshua brought here. He inherited no DNA. He delivered DNA machine. I mean, y'all got to give him man the credit. Yeah, Philip, bro, you got to salute them, man.
Minister, it appears that the Ministry of Gender, I mean, the government by extension, will have to put in place more policy to address the issue of children being in the streets, because just recently, the very Ministry of Gender reported that over 366,000 Liberian street children live under harsh economic conditions. And, you know, judging from your explanation, comparing to the Ministry of Gender's recent statement, I don't know, what do you think you need to do to work towards getting rid of these kinds of things? 366,000 children is no small number.
I mean, this is a whole society issue. We gotta hit it head on. There, some progress is being made, but it's a very challenging situation. We don't want children to sell. Okay. Now, do you do it by declaring a public law, a regulation? No child should sell. You go in the street, you start taking. I mean, it's a social thing. You gotta be, especially closer to election. These things are difficult. So, street selling, it means children are not in school. And then when the children are not in school, they say, okay, but the parents are using them as economic breadwinner. That is wrong. We need to stop the president. Look, we declare free school here in a lot of ways. School, and the other thing we need to talk about here related to this is that it's coming up, a question you not asked, is that parents are also complaining that they've hikes in school fees and also in graduation fee. Somebody came to me, one group of people last night, that they for help on graduation 200. I said, why should schools be charging graduation fees? Why? Because that's imposing burden on people. People just need to pay minimum amount and get out of school. I asked them, they were laughing. So we, as a government, we have to confront this. This should not be happening where people are charging $600, $500 to graduate. This is even more than the school fee.
I'm sure the Minister of Education is listening.
Oh, no, this is not just about the Minister of Education. This is about all of us. Okay, we need to abolish that fee structure. So nobody, you know the reason why the president declared free tuition? I mean, free was mainly is because students used to come in the street to go to him. Thousands of students went to him. They said, well, we want money to pay our WAS fee. So the president said, I'll make a regulation, the government will pay. Now, the government, you want the president now to come back again and say, we declare graduation free, so we pay the school for the graduation. We're not going to do that one. We're not going to do that one. We're going to have the schools that stop charging that stuff.
How do you do that?
Okay, that question goes to the students. Why? I mean, why do you need? Okay, I said a gown rental. I mean, what is the money for? What is the money for? Let understand what the money for. Is it for renting a gown, for school projects? These things are volitional. Students can decide what they want to do and just minimally just get a gown and they walk out of the school. Maybe the fee should be $50. Why should the fee be $300, $400? So we need a serious policy on this. The Minister of Education is hearing me, the president being concerned about this, all in the government, because we face this thing. I told you, 7% came to me last night to help them with graduation fee. I posed a challenge to them. I said, well, why I need to pay $200? And even saying, the people say, when we pay the $200, we will not go to the thing that will qualify us to graduate. There's some event happening on Friday. These are nursing school people. I don't even talk about university or nursing school people, right?
How about the tea party or some kind of thing?
Yeah, they say, and we pay by Wednesday. They will not get there Friday, so we're not graduate. So I said, no, I will engage our school.
Okay, so Mr. Minister and Commissioner NAGBE, I'm sure we exhausted some of the key sectors. We're about now to go into other issues before opening the lines. First, I want to get the reason, the rationale behind your decision as a government, why you thought that it was not quite necessary for a war crime court. That issue has been coming up over and over again. Why do you think as a
See,
government?
Fred, I'm shaking right now. You're fired.
But the way you ask the question, so
Yes,
he
sir.
made some presumptions
Yeah.
and some assumptions also,
Mhm.
because since the end of the war, it was President Weah who took the first step. The president sent a letter to the national legislature, which started the process on justice as a whole, justice for crimes committed during the war. He took the first step, the first constitutional step, to write the Liberian legislature to say, look, we have this issue. What are the next steps? And, because the only group that can make law is not the president. For anything to happen, regarding the creation of a code, of a war crimes code, an economic crimes code, or to create it locally or not internationally, it has to be a legislative process. So he did write the legislature, and the legislature has since initiated some action and have come back with some recommendations, I think just last year. So to say that the government has decided not to do anything about restorative justice, is not accurate. The president has taken the steps that he needed to take. Some of the recommendations from the TRC, including the creation of all the appointment of a special peace ambassador, the hosting of town halls around the country. Some of the other recommendations are already being implemented under the auspices of the peace ambassador. And there is a whole office set up along with our partners to look at all of the issues, and it's an ongoing process. So to say that the president has done nothing is not fair,
So
because he has taken the first step.
That happening?
The war ended 2003. Nobody did it until he came and sent a letter after he came from the United Nations to the Senate, to the legislature, I should say, not just the Senate, in keeping with the Constitution that he has taken an oath to protect. So that is an ongoing process.
So the question is, do we see that happening in the nearby future?
No, but we cannot preempt what the process will be. So he has jump-started the process, and the conversation is ongoing. The legal process has started. The process that is within his purview, which is to hold town hall meetings to appoint the peace envoy, and all of that, he's done all of the things that the Constitution and the law asks him to do.
Okay.
But so you were asking that question. The question is, the people who been asking the questions, this question, where are they now? Where is this debate now? That's the question now. Where is the war crime debate right now? We have largely believed, look, there are people who wanted to weaponize the war crime debate. At the time you had United Nations peacekeeping troops here, that was the time you have a war crime trial. That's when you have it. You have it when you have peacekeepers here. George Weah is the first president to have kept our peace for 5 years without any United Nations presence. So the physical thing that Eugene was talking about, the physical presence security is absent. The macroeconomic impact is absent. Okay. The debate was rife. People came in this town and they began demonstrating for war crime. So the question is asking, what happened to that now? What happened to the primary?
But Minister, this is something you said you wanted when you were in opposition.
Yeah, but if you want something, you got to do it legally to get it.
Correct.
When the president took the oath, all the steps under the Constitution that he has to take for a law to start, he has to go to the legislature first. And he has done that. He wrote a letter.
And the legislature responded with a transitional justice framework.
Okay. So we are still at the legislature. The both of you are being accused. The both of you are being accused of disrupting the Senate section recently. What went wrong?
Let me begin this.
We still there, so I just want to throw that
I'm glad that you threw it.
They accuse you of disrupting.
I saw the thing. Let me be very clear. I think I have been at the Senate for around 12 to 15 times over the last 5 years. I mean, hearing in the House the same time. So on average, maybe 20 to 25 times I have appeared there physically to face the senators and to face the representatives. In all of those times, the president pro tempore who began presiding left while we were having the hearing. The speaker has left and gone outside. So there is a rule there that allows the presiding to leave to attend to emergencies, seen or unseen, whatever reason. Now, I'm not talking about bathrooms. No, I'm talking about to leave the session and go do some other public work. There's a rule. Because I have seen them repeatedly leave. Sometimes he leaves, Sir Joseph comes to take over. In the House side, the speaker leave. Sometimes Akara, sometimes what's his name, Deputy Speaker. I mean, it's a normal thing. When I saw the outburst from Senator Dillon and some of the other people about this,
outburst.
Then I said, oh, okay, so they have a rule. The rule does not allow for a Samuel TWEAH to enter along with EUGENE NAGBE. So the exception to that rule is that persons can come and report, but those persons may not be EUGENE NAGBE or Samuel TWEAH. When they come, then we describe it as disrupting. That is unfair. And that is even giving us the level of dignity that we probably don't even deserve. Because we are public servants. If there are national emergency, I have gone over there and sat in the President Pro Temporary's office and he has come. There has been no incident. So what that says is that there was no incident, maybe because Senator Dillon did not see me. Because if Senator Dillon knows that I'm in the President Pro Temporary's office for an emergency situation, he is saying that the Senate Pro Tem should not leave. So the question is not whether they saw me, that's why. Even if I went to
making anything long.
Yeah.
If they don't find anybody disrupted the Senate, they got a way to deal with it.
Okay, let's move into politics
No.
because
But I just talk. He will not do nothing.
Yeah,
Because he ain't saying anything. It's probably a common folk.
But it's against us.
No, seriously.
It's targeting us. That's what I'm saying.
It's coming on phone about he thought, I think. Because every
he's a senator, though.
So what? If I'm a senator, anybody come and disrupt the session,
But
I know what to do with that.
for disrupting
You're so wasting time.
I'm telling you, when they summon me, I'll tell you, sir, I have seen the Pro Tem and the Speaker
But
left.
who is someone?
So you can summon me
They
for
don't
that.
have put one letter on the floor. Leave that thing.
Yeah, but
I
so-
know what I'm talking.
Yeah, grandstanding.
Grandstand.
Okay, let's move into politics.
But if somebody disrupt the Senate, then nothing will come out of it.
Commissioner
Because the other senators know that they don't just grandstanding. They know nobody disrupt them. Anything. I spent like about 15 seconds.
That's it.
15 seconds can disrupt a whole Senate session.
Generally,
When the thing was recorded, no, the Pro Tem wanted to see us twice myself, so we went to him.
While they were
When we
in
got
session.
there, they were in session, we stood outside. The Secretary of Senate came outside to us, talked to us for about 3 minutes and said, oh, let me go and tell the Pro Tem. He said, you come. We stood right there. He got up, turned over to Sir Joseph, and we went to the office for a meeting.
So in short,
So what
it
is
was
this,
the who told you to enter through the
Chief, if they don't believe that we disrupt that session, he's a senior, he know what to do.
No, not about the law. I'm asking
but
him. I
I-
said it.
but you- I got my way of answering now.
And then he said,
I-
the Senate said you can go.
What
So
I
he gave you the
explain is what this project even left a seat, turned over to Sir Joseph, who's chairman or executive, to
There was
preside,
no
and he
disruption.
came- No disruption.
In a session.
But there was no disruption.
Because they wanted
They
to
don't
disrupt
left
the whole
this.
session.
Okay.
If any disruption was there, it was Dylan who disrupted the session.
Oh,
Because
really?
after we left, I heard from what I saw online that he was arguing and disrupting.
Okay, let's
So
move.
if there was a
into
disruption,
politics
he know what to
because
do.
we in the
Nobody coming nowhere. You see, after 2-3 days, I wouldn't know about it again. I'm black. Who me?
Okay, let's move
But
into
nobody disrupted the
politics.
session.
Of recent, the Secretary General of CDC, your political party, he alleged that there are some individuals in the government that are undermining the government by supporting other, opposition political parties, and he named the Minister of Transport, the Minister of Justice, and to continue. Is it a belief of the government that people are in the government supporting other institutions that could undermine the re-election of the president?
All these people work at the pleasure of the president, and the Secretary General, if he uses the info to the president, I'm sure the right action will be taken. But since then, both Minister Wulu and the Minister of Justice they've reacted and said it's not true, but it's a presidential prerogative.
But do you subscribe to that belief?
No, but I have no evidence of that. And I know Sam very well. And, I know he's supposed to be president. And if there's any information that the Secretary General has, he will use it. So for me, it's not a big issue. But while we're on this program, we haven't even left. And, some United Party people already have started.
Because it's called Mo Ali page.
But Mo Ali got a comprehension problem. Comprehension, understand English good. I said the projects that are being done by LIS, Liberia Agency for Community Empowerment, are not the president's private project. It doesn't mean the president doesn't have any private project.
You are asking about the housing.
But you just said the housing
stuff.
The president does some markets, but those on the list are in the budget.
So you're saying there are two separate.
The president does things by himself, of his own initiative, like the Invisible Park.
But then you
build a market on.
Differentiate.
Well, I did. I said the ones by list are in the budget, and most of them are done by list. The housing. Some are done by his own initiative, and where he does it by himself, it is clearly stated. So, like Invisible Park, like the market that he did in Princeville, he did it by himself. He intervenes with people. He did something, I think, in Grand Crew and something by himself. But there are projects by list that are in the budget. So that he has a comprehension problem.
You also said, Minister, you admitted
that you are
not doing more in terms of police support. He said you admitted that you are not spending.
But all the things he come do more. To do more means you doing some.
You just say because from the opposition.
No, if right now, if the government even take $30 billion and face the country, more Ali will say.
You expect me to say that and respond to more Ali?
Commissioner,
more Ali was going.
Let me tell you something. More Ali, nobody former Secretary General. I'm not doing the work good. I don't move.
Right now,
right now, when you let the party right to speak, will respond to him. More Ali, flow memo.
Right now, you have the platform to correct these things.
That's what I'm asking.
Fortunately for you, they are start flagging some of
that propaganda. And what we here to confront the people's job. The people's job is to lie.
So you need to correct that.
Okay, but let me tell you something. The people's job is to lie. They have lied they believe lie could have brought the government down. So they will always lie. So we're not going to be chasing the lie. We've provided comprehensive information for the Liberian people. And they used to be talking, hey, I told you that they increased poverty. You hear more Ali posting on that. And Joe Braga recently talked about poverty. We don't want to say the president inherited 2 million. He run away from that one. And he running. He say he kind of police. He run away from poverty now. For 4 years they've been talking about poverty. After the show now he's running now. He's looking for police or something. We finished establishing the poverty thing. That the president is the first president that took people out of poverty. And I will show that I'll publish the graph. After the thing, we'll see the graph. You'll see the number of person coming out of poverty in honor of the president.
Okay,
so that's why I didn't respond to that one.
Okay, so we're about to open the lines.
You now meet a 1 million target in the PAP.
Yeah, but you coming back to that question again?
But you say you take people out of poverty. So you now meet the 1 million.
The 2 million that the moral leader gave us. Right? We move on from there. We face challenge. We're dealing with that at the goal. But they handed out 2 million, and I want to stay working with.
Okay, so let's do a special interview with the Minister of Finance and Development Planning, TWEAH, and LENN EUGENE, Maritime Commissioner. You can now put your calls quickly. I'm sure they'll be taking notes so that they can respond. 0776-540-987, or better still 0880-514-096. That's the number to call. And you are live on the program this morning. Good morning. Yes, good morning. Oh, you're coming from Morocco, okay.
Scholarship. And I just want to ask this question to the Minister of Finance. Of recent, there was a sign the generosity extended to the public of Liberia to the Swedish and EU as they would correct the error in the EU. And one of the 2 areas has to do with food system. And I thought to touch on it. I have realized or noticed that in Liberia, we have this National Food System Agency that was written by the president. And I've noticed that usually we go towards this importation of purchase of food products to help our people. So I thought to know or ask whether there is a structural plan for our food system in terms of, in fact, bringing in the country new technologies that will help produce food in Liberia, use such money, invest it in farmers or farming activities, use produce from the rural farms and produce our food like jam, that you have juices and so forth. People who produce apples, people who produce oranges, who invest in those farmers to ensure that we use their farm produce to produce food for our people. And another thing is establish a whole system that will observe and analyze our food qualities. Because I realize that in Liberia nowadays, people just eat anything, they don't observe diet and so forth. So I hope these plans are put into place so that people will be nutritionalized by the value of the quality of food they absorb or they consume. And please, sir, could you expand better on the food system? How do we intend to use such money that is being invested or that is being given by partners? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Many thanks. Many thanks. We really appreciate your time. Let's take additional calls quickly. 0776 540-987. That's the number to call. And then you are live on the program this morning. We're trying to see where we can get the calls coming in quickly. Let's do this call. Good morning. Yes, sir. Okay. Many thanks, many thanks, many thanks, many thanks. Let's take this let's take this other call in the line quickly. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah.
Member of the Oscar Medal and others in the society. I'm somewhat disappointed to listen to Honorable Minister in studio discussing a very important issue of the country in a fun manner that we are enjoying and the government are doing well. I think going on those days, that people will come on the platform, into the lab, massive of the Liberian people.
Okay, you made your point. You made your point already. I think this caller. Good morning. Hello.
Good morning, Dr. George.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is Solomon. We are calling from Tottenham Township, Grand Bassa County. So I want to say how to the minister and the commissioner against you.
Hello,
Yes, go
hello.
ahead.
May I want to answer? Hello, hello.
And I also want to thank them for what all they have said before. You know that to always listen to ELBC because ELBC always make my day. Hello?
Yes, go ahead. He's off. I didn't lie. Let's take this other caller. Good morning. Yes, good morning.
Oh.
Okay, I think we can't keep you on the line. Let's take this other caller on the line quickly. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, sir. Your name and where you calling from?
I'm Wilson Jones and calling from district number 15 to be precise. We are speaking to Legend Center for development.
Okay, let's hear from you.
Everything, thank you so much, John. I think the minister, they are fair info. I'm continuing to hear people, it's very important issue. The very important issue is the stabilization of electricity. I think for that sense, I came to
Oh,
Somebody call
going
you.
off the air. Going off the air. Let's take this other caller. Good morning. Yes, sir. Okay, many thanks. Let's take this other caller. Good morning. Your name and where you calling from?
Thank you very much, Chief, for checking the government official this morning. Thank you very much. My question is to the Minister. We know that all the West Coast they get landed, Dr. George Manuia, President of the Republic of Liberia, 140 million brought into this country. Mr. Prime Minister, you can usually like people as to how this George to this country and who are those that were involved in bringing this George here. And how far is it now? Number two question. Number two question has to do with the support sector in our country. We all know that the president hails from the background of support in Liberia and then
Okay, I think you made your point already. Let's take this other call on the line. Good morning. Yes, good morning. Hmm. Of the line. Let's take this other caller. Good morning. Yes, sir. Hmm.
Attention is drawn to this drug issue. People talking about places for the drug is boys to go. And I have been the principal for the school. And the RFI, the guys were sent over and over. People pay money for them and they refuse to go. Do people think that in a big academy for them, they will go there? And other people talking about how drugs can be in the country and government is not doing anything. How drug is going to the United States of America that most of the so it's not a matter of government, but the citizens, we citizens in the rural communities are afraid to report these things to the authorities. We see the drug dealer and we shield them. And sometimes they put all of the blame on the government. So we all holistically have to work together to see how we can combat the drug issue.
Okay. Okay.
Minister NAGBE, I need your number. This is N Senior from District number 5. Please. I want you to please give me your number.
Let me give it right now because 077 00 00 again. 717. On Facebook all over. Yeah,
Okay.
that's good.
Let's take this other caller. Good morning. Hello. Okay, we take this other caller from this line. Good morning. Yes, go ahead. Okay, let's take this other caller. You made your point over there. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. George, and let me say good morning to our potent minister, finance minister of our time, and to the Commission General of the Bureau of Maritime. My name is David King, the man who recruit out of the corporate defender of the public like people to defend the president and our government. I have two concerns. Mr. TWEAH, I would like to ask you the source of the funding that plays in the room from ELBC junction to RIA. And the next one has to do with the road that from leading from to Lofa County, because I was in Lofa 2 months ago, and I was being told that that project was the World Bank project, similarly with the RIA project. So I would like for you to give us the source of the funding.
Okay, many thanks. Well, I asked the two ministers to respond to this question.
We'll begin with the last one, Claire. Let's begin with the last one, Claire. Listen, the RIA is being paid for by the government of the Republic of Liberia through the national budget, not through the road fund. So let's get it clear. I heard one presidential or vice presidential candidate talking about that. RIA road is government allocation. We are the ones paying for that. The investor can pre-finance. We're supposed to make budget allocation to continue the road. So that one that the government will allocate money for it until it is done. So we're not even using road fund for that road. Clear.
Let it do World Bank.
The World Bank not there. No. I want a pure government business. The Lofa Road is a project funded by our Arab partners. The government has its contribution to make. The issue with these roads, a lot of these projects is that they are partner funded, but these are obligations sometimes on the World Bank side that you have loan inside. So like I was saying in the other day, just because the World Bank is giving us, we have grant and we have loan, we have to pay it back. So when somebody lay you $20 million and you got to pay it back over the next 30 years, you stay paying it back. All right. But the Badia, the Kuwait and the Saudi fund are the ones that are funding that. That project would never have happened unless the government put money there. We had to renegotiate the problem because the project had defect. It was defective. So we had to bring it to effectiveness by re-signing and reorganizing it. That's why you see the road is moving there. So yeah, and in addition to that, Eugene said that the Ganta Sakipia Road is again government funded. This government is funding more roads from the budget than any other government. So we're very clear on that. I think I will run a few comments. The first comment was very important. The man who's benefiting from the government program already, I think it's Bernardo. And there's another evidence about the pro impact of the president. He was talking about Swedish support in the whole food business. And to be honest, he's right. There's a National Food Assistance Agency that is being created. It's part of the food ecosystem. So what he's basically saying is that we need to take a deeper dive at our nutrition component in the planning. And these monies come from the partners. What are we doing to make sure that it has the effect? And I think, as I said in my presentation, that the president has called for a re-engineering of all of these resources. He wants to see struggle impact. He wants to see poverty reduction. Yeah, he wants to see poverty reduction and all of that. So, so thank you for the question. I think we have a plan to move towards a better food system, to grow local food, rice and cassava more, to make them more competitive. That's the focus of the president's vision, currently, and going into the second term. That's going to be rice is going to be center stage. Financing for rice from the World Bank, from the African Development Bank, from the government of Liberia, crowding in the private sector, meaning the banks. Banks are sitting on bulk cash that is not going to the agriculture sector. The reason is that they don't see it as profitable. So even though we eat rice 4 times a day, any banker, any investor will want to make his money from that proposition, but there are weaknesses in the market setup. So we are working with the partners and saying, let's solve those weaknesses. Technically, the government should not be taking loan from the World Bank for agriculture. Eco Bank should be putting $15 million in agriculture because they believe they can get $17 million back when the people pay it because we are eating rice. That is not happening. It's a missing market. So we're trying to solve the structural problems to get the private sector to crowd in the banks to move money there. And so gradually then the government will start moving its credit to other areas. So all this plan is on. So you're right. The National Food Assistance Agency is a new fledgling institution that needs to be mainstream mainly into the ecosystem. It is not giving the high priority. We hear you take recommendation and we gotta look at it. The other caller talked about debt. And again, this is a story. People know the thing. We talk about under the cover debt, the transparency involved. He said, well, we now understand the debt situation in the country. It is you guys who are bringing more transparency to the debt situation. So we thank you for that recognition. We'll continue to do more. The United Party member, we got to comment on that one because the umpire, we have that failed. The narrative has been that, they're trying to stick this thing about, first they said the president could not govern the country. That was they began. So when the president took over and the challenges started coming, they said, my man, let politicize the challenges here so the man can come down. Because they would let the man succeed. The man already popular. He got 35, 30, 40% of the country before government. If this man changes this country by even 40, 50%, you are adding to that natural popularity. We not get chance here to get power. So let's lie on the government. Let's torpedo the government. Let's lie all these lies about this, all the money missing, 25 million. Now they're lying on death. Auditors die. All those lies. Let's just lie. And then they will get confused and then they will crumble. But none of these things has worked. So they've seen the success we're talking about today. Recently, they've been talking about poverty. When I finish explaining the poverty, everybody run away from there. And man say, oh, my man, no intellectualizing. No, not intellectualizing that the World Bank. I just reading the poverty report from the World Bank. God bring all your economy. The only thing I wanted to do is that let all of them call on the show now. The people who can be lying, why when we can't, they can't call. We here now. You don't go do it on Facebook. Y'all call right now and tell us why we should not go back. That's why they need to tell us why. Why we should.
Let's have a debate.
Let's have a debate, but they will run away from
it. They'll bring your best on the table because the facts are stubborn.
Yeah.
You can argue with success. You can argue with reality. You can try to pivot and go to something else. The other caller asked about sports.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about this a little bit because I'm a former sports writer, and I've met the president because Thomas Dona, myself, Emmanuel Williams, and others who work at Sports World newspaper. And you can take away from the president's love for sports and contribution to sports, both before he became president and since then. There was a time they brought the argument about Lone Star. Day before yesterday, the head of the Adora was in Liberia. He spoke to the press. He spoke to the country about how, because Mr. President signed on to them, how they became a bigger company. It was the Adora boost that he wore when he became the world best. And you know what that did for Adora. So they wanted to give back to Liberia. And he said, look, for me to wear your boots to play for Liberia, you have to sponsor the national team. Liberia was a small country, Adora a small company. At the time, they gave $50,000 to help Lone Star. The president was the one who physically brought the money to Liberia, gave it to the authorities. Without even calculating how much he spent to take Lone Star to training camp in Banjaville, how much he spent to take them on planes to go and meet their obligations when we were during our wartime period. We're not calculating that. And since he became president, every time Lone Star plays a game, when they go away, how much you spend? Every game, 150, 200,000 for the national team. The smaller teams, how much do they pay? So for somebody to say that he's not for us, it's a failure, maybe because and he has identified the problems. He said these people, all the fees we used to have, when we were coming up paid, we used to go from fee to fee pay. Where are they? They were closing up. Look at the fee right on Broad Street there. When we used to practice. Somebody took the land. Somebody took Bible Project ground. I don't know how big it is anymore. So his idea is that if you put these facilities in the community, TWEAH, PHP, Invincible Park, you attract young people back to sports, and that's how you build from the grassroots up. So when somebody says that he didn't build a stadium for 500 million, he was supposed to use our entire budget. The president is not president of football; he's president of the republic. You got rescue 1, rescue NT, fixer 1, fixer 2. He's president. He is the president, president 1, not rescue 1, because he sends rescue Liberia from Mr. Barker's 40 years of failure. He rescued Liberia already. He's fixing Liberia. When Mr. Cummings, anyway, I don't know what to call him, multi-millionaire, because Benin USA he ain't got no money. So the alleged multi-millionaire, when he was having his money, he didn't come back one day to say, I will help to fix the country. It was Mr. Weah who was using his money to send people to school, pay people school fees, buy a bus for the university. So what did he rescue? What did he fix? What can they fix? Liberia is already rescued, and Liberia is being fixed by the president's leadership.
Before I lose my thought on that point, the vice president said, former vice president said he was packed for 12 years. So let me ask in the garage. If you park a car for 12 years, so you put a car, and not a new car, a used car, because you put used car in the garage, you park it and you lock it. 12 years, when you're supposed to be driving it, it will back. In 12 years finish. Your friend get there, he driving your own now, like the president driving your own here now, LEC, CLSG, all the things we talk about, WASFI, driving it. Your own pago, 6 years later now, after the 12 years, so the car parked for 18 years. You ask any what do you call it, mechanic person, don't call them. Yeah. Whether when the car now move for 18 years and you put key inside, whether it's supposed to start, you ask the librarian, let the answer that question there. When you, so I told somebody, say when you turn that key, you will not hear any sound, it will never move. So you can never rescue anything in this country. You got to be brutally honest with the Liberian people.
So what are you insinuating?
We're insinuating clear. You can actually hear from the callers that the president is succeeding not because of what we are saying, because of the impact of what he's doing. One caller just called and said the CLSG land situation. You know, we're here in the studio last time. There was a debate whether we should pay for the 8 million. You know, two of us said, let me tell you something. One thing I understand about Liberian people, and Joshua telling us that he said, you tell the Liberian people the truth. You don't tell the Liberian people what they want to hear. Once you tell the Liberian people the facts and the truth, they will respect you. When you tell them what they want to hear in a gut feel and they know you're lying, they will not respect you. So we came on the radio, you say, go say the truth to the Liberian people. I came on the radio, I say, let me tell you, we're not paid that money. They'll go sleep in darkness. We make the investment. We turn it around next year. And the caller came and say, thank you. And the advisor, the president succeeding now. So in this country here, we are governing not because of politics. We took hard decisions here and during tough time. People were protesting all kind of political things. We stabilized the state. The people know now the tough decisions that we took. The bread and butter issue. You rescue the price of rice in 2014-15 when it was $16. And you will rescue this situation here now. The cost of electricity, you now rescue it. We brought it from 35 cents for the poor people and now 14 cents. It's already been rescued. So what is there to rescue? What? You take a vice presidential candidate who has worked with the government for 5 years, endorsed us, done everything. So what that means is that to beat CDC, you have to come to CDC. We are the one who have the solution. You reject the people who were in the CPP protest, the June 7, all the people who work with you. You rejected them. You told the men who all agreed that we are transforming the country so that CDC for the CDC. So where you going?
Okay.
Who you rescuing?
So we take additional calls, please. I know you already. Good morning. Yes, sir. Mhm. Okay. Okay.
Call the number again. Call the number again.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Many thanks. Let's take this caller. Good morning. Hello. Yes, let's hear from you.
Yes, good morning. This is William Smith. When I said my vice president of the Football Association, this government supported every club and supported every football club that have qualified for both the CAF Champions and the CAF Cup. The first one tournament was hosted on this government, was sponsored by this government.
Thank
And
you.
that tournament provided an opportunity for all five Nigerian players to go to Europe. They are contributing to the national team now. All of the projects undertook across the country, the government provided duty-free. Today we have two South Sea. We have the Durham Winning State and the Durham Winning. We have technical center. Yes, we have buses. All of those were achieved based on the tax break the government provided us. The national team has been supported throughout when I serve as our president of the Football Association, and even bonuses and inspiration have been provided to the players. And so, in the era of football, yes, the government has contributed immensely. I know previous government was not providing funding for clubs that were qualifying for the continental tournament. This government, amidst the huge financial situation challenges, has been able to sponsor our clubs whenever they qualify for the CAF competition, and of course our national team.
Okay.
This government will more friendly internationals, over 13 to 15 friendly internationals where the government provided support allowances for Liberia to participate in the World Cup of Sports. So for the record, there has been support going towards football, and football can only get better.
Okay. Many thanks. Many thanks. Let's take this caller. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, good morning, sir. Okay. Many thanks. Let's take this caller. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Good morning. I'm just Larry Salu calling for TWEAH, the member of the Battleground. I just want to extend my appreciation and thanks to the Vice Government Ministry input on TWEAH and our powerful commission. You know, all telling people you're voted. Trump, whether we are going around veterans or what, we are cleaning our 2 years left for the creator for the country. Today, they wrote for the system for the country. There's a 5 years. This is our 5 years. They're telling 1 year when I get 1 year in the country, we see your 12, we see your run the country. Today, God, Father, we are protecting the road, God, Father, we are playing our brother system, YFC. Today, they say, whatever, what you are going to always do, the street, you are telling me, okay, say, rescue my rescue, why not rescue when it was 2 years? Why not rescue when it was 2 years? Look, I tell you, la rescue, look at 30 minutes, look at 30 minutes. And just all of our president, what's the wrong? People are watching the road. We are still at the farmers. We are still a road for the country. We are still a foreign. What's that foreign? That's real up. They say rescue.
Okay, you made your point. Let's take this other caller. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
And good morning to the Conscious Man in Liberia. My name is Abraham Political Moderator, and I call from the headquarters of the Veterans Bureau on the most talk about West Avenue this morning. Let me appreciate your heart and your two distinct studio guests and your panelists. I think right information at the right time bring hope to the public. Your two distinct studio guests disseminated the information well to the Liberian people. I take two key things from the presentation. One from the education sector and from the rural connectivity. We publicly announced this on the bigger platform across the country to the Liberian following. I want people who are high school dropped and will attend the challenge this year to complete my high school. I benefited from His Excellency President George Manuel free was payment. But I want to encourage the president and that of the national legislature. Let him legislate that free was payment to enable students who are dancing. Because everywhere in the world, even in Liberia, government will not do all, not possible. I'm appealing to the office of the president, that the national legislature, because the president has already paid back, let the legislature and the all 12 million across the country should not pay WASI. And lastly, the issue of rural connectivity. I think I listened to the statistic for the ever-put minister. We will be speaking now on the first battle for the data. We paid I think 1,077 kilometers of road. What is the period of
1,374.
Okay. Many thanks. Let's take this caller. Good morning.
Good morning, Sir George. Good morning.
I'm okay.
Yeah, my name is Morris Kumar, the co-chair for Operation National Response Defensive and Approval Defender. And I'm joining right now from my resident drivers back in Balanceville. Let me say good morning to your studio guests, the Honorable Minister of TWEAH and the Honorable Minister of NAGBE. Let me just commend you people who are standing on. We, the people defender for the National Response and Defense Team, this is the reason why we always on the show, we always find the media to make sure to take the topic. And I love the way it's attracting us to say that. Why this guy when you people going around giving misleading information in the community? Why they can't call now on the radio or they can't go on the show to tell the people how to ask the minister that question about the other thing that going on in the country or what the government is not doing? Because the minister do not call because they are fake people. They are going around lying around the people around here, saying all about fake to the people. But I want to caution that my leaders at this studio. Let us make sure what you people are going to do for the country. You guys will make sure and carry on, and we are the watchdog. We are the media watchdog, monitoring every activity of this government.
Okay.
And we'll make sure that President Weah first thing right will be the most talked about in this country. It will be the first history.
Okay, thank you. Many thanks. Let's take this call on this line. Good morning. Yes, sir. Yes, go ahead. Okay, let me take this other caller quickly. Good morning. Good morning. Hello? Hello? Yes, good morning. Okay. Many thanks. 0776. Let's take this. We'll take 2 more calls and wrap it up quickly. Good morning. Hello? Good morning.
Honorable Minister, let's hear from you. I would credit it for one thing for more. But this administration will simply move from the international groups than any other country. Besides, you build football or any sport on the grassroots level. The issue with our national team not performing well has nothing to do with the government support. Because support has been needed. It has to do with the caliber of players that we have today as compared to yesterday. So on the football side, look at it, guys. Never before have we had on a 12 or 15 games like this. Today we are. That's how you build talent. Look at the female side. We got more female teams today than ever before because we are improving at every level when it comes to football. Now, we are the Ministry of Youth Sports. Even for football. Let's go to athletic side. Today, Liberia holds world record in the 200 meters, both at the Olympics and at the World Games. Never before has Liberia ever reached the final in any of the competitions. We went to the 200 meter final, Joseph Famole, at the Olympics, and listen what I'm giving the government like that. It was built by the Chinese government. And today, we are in conversation with several countries to assist them. But in the meantime, we have to meet international standards. Look at the estate today. Is this the estate you do yesterday? Why you did yesterday? Nigeria, national team, and seven national team, they play the estate Coast Club back. Because Seven is there, and they use Liberia as our home ground. So until we build our fuel in position, our football we have met the international level. That's why we are playing the national cup competition at the SK Sports Complex. So at every level, this government is that they focus on one discipline of all sports in general, including intellectuals. Even the Scrabble group, they are not coming up. So for someone to say that, oh, the president will really apply. Because like you just said, he did it when he was just a professor for Problem. And he's doing more today as a president of this country. That's my contribution. Thank you so much.
Many thanks, Mr. Minister. So go back to our guests to respond to some of the concerns and then wrap it up, with the party comment. Take leave of them. Yes, Mr. Minister.
So just begin with the youth and sports minister. Look, I think what people want is that Liberia should go for the African Cup of Nations and carry it. We should qualify for the World Cup. If those two things don't happen, and you spend the entire budget on a George Weah, as far as they're concerned, there is no progress. Even when we go for the World Cup and we carry it, Mo Ali and the critics will still say, well, we still haven't done better. So, Minister, the point is well made. The important question on ArcelorMittal, I think, is a very important one. ArcelorMittal is supposed to, the third amendment is supposed to inject around $800 million in the Liberian economy. That's a huge investment that should have happened under President Weah. And the benefits, the secondary, tertiary benefits of that. Where we are right now, we are still in a situation where, again, speaking on inheritance, we have a concession agreement with ArcelorMittal that gives ArcelorMittal certain rights. What we're trying to do as a country is to have other users of that rail to have equal access to the rail that Mittal has been managing. So it's a very tricky situation with the rights that Mittal currently has. You're opening it up and allowing others to use it. There are views that some people say Mittal should not be the user operator. We should open it, but the law that Mittal has already gave it that right. So they are acting on, they have the right under that law. We are working to say, look, even if you are the user operator, we want to write rules that will allow others. So Mittal should be opening the gate and closing it, and everybody else come fairly and equitably. That is the negotiation. That's where the conversation is. Still ongoing. It's still ongoing. And we believe that, there's HPS, international investor who want to use the rail as we are in town, ArcelorMittal in town. We think we are having a meeting of the mind. And very soon, besides the Mittal investment, the investment from the other users who are bringing their oil from Guinea will also bring more jobs and more revenue to the country. We want a win-win for Liberia. And so good news, better news are coming for the Liberian people here. The callers on Lofa said it all right. You can't rescue Lofa County in 12 years. You will not rescue it after 18 years. It's not possible because the roads that are happening in Lofa and the roads that will happen in the southeast, we have provided all funding now. All funding for southeastern roads have been secured. The southeastern situation is just a matter of our time. They can't out to where they call the roads. The financing is lined up. We just need to. Our biggest enemy on that road now is not money. It's time to do the work. So very soon, upon the president re-election, you're going to see all those places coming. Right now, there's intense work on making the roads possible. The Minister of Public Works is always on that road. The whole government is there. We are making the road possible. The same thing is happening in Lofa. The issue is that once these roads are connected, those are jobs. The people of Lofa who just called, when that road is finished, it means farm expansion. It means factories will be located. It means warehousing. The value chain we established in Lofa County. The people of Lofa County are productive. The people of Southeast are productive. The roads have been depressing agricultural output in the southeastern counties. All those things will change. So that is where the president is going with the country. They've seen the handiwork of the president in 5 years. If you stay in 12 years, you give this president 12 years, I can tell you, the fundamental structural problems that have bedeviled Liberia for 170 years would have been solved. George Weah would have brought the electricity challenge to its knee by 2029 when he's leaving office. The fundamental challenge of roads would have been achieved. The fundamental challenge of agricultural productivity would have been achieved. Those are the three things that have held us down. The private sector challenge would have been solved. People are afraid that if that man solve the big questions and he's leaving office, what will happen? We'll be afraid. It means the opposition could be decimated because the big national questions have been solved by a man who was said not to be able or to have the capacity to govern the country. Now, the irony is that he is the one who has solved the historically vexed questions of our time. That is the fear of the opposition. So you see all of them pandering.
Okay. Yes,
Well,
Commissioner NAGBE.
yes. Very quickly, I just want to say thanks for the opportunity and to add that, you know, the best campaigner for the president is the president himself. You know, yesterday he was saying how he's not going to campaign, but he's going to visit every nook and cranny in the country because the Liberian people can see, they can feel, they can discern. He's only going there to tell them thank you for working with him over the past 5 years and to present himself for the next 6 years. And you can rest assured that with the wide network that we have as a government and the wide network that the party has, Mr. President will consolidate his gains and the Liberian people by themselves will deliver to him again the mantle of authority. You know, somebody said that, oh, some of your network has gone away. You know, right now, you know, there was a senator who never used to campaign, but now he's campaigning heavily in Nima County because we have contributed a whole lot.
What's his name?
But I'm Senator running Nima, Senator Johnson, campaigning more than ever before. I have never campaigned because there will be a CDC candidate that will go against him. And we're very sure that based on what the people of Nima, I'm not from Nima, you know, so I don't know, people keep texting me about Nima. The people of Nima themselves have decided that they want a new path, a new pathway for themselves. They are very industrious people and they can make choices for themselves. I don't need to say nothing to them because I'm not from Nima. Nimbaians will make decisions for Nima. And we as a party at the national level will ensure that whatever the aspirations are, we support it. You know, so that people, we can wait for the campaign season to start so that we all get on the ground running.
But you to that point in Nima, I said in gatherings and Nima people, I say, look, there are two issues on the line here. The president's re-election is on the line, obviously. He's running on his record. So that's an issue. The other issue here is the character of Nima. We are all not from Nima, but Nimbas have stood with the president for 5 years and they've seen his development. So the Nimba man, loyalty, commitment to a president who has helped put a lot of resources in the county. I talk about the feeder roads, we're talking about the roads, we're talking about projects that are being done at the expense where other counties are saying, why is he focused so much on Nimba and have left us? What is on the ballot, in addition to President Weah, is that on the October 10th, Liberians will wake up and say, yes, we have confidence and trust in the loyalty of a Nimba citizen. When he stands by you and you do good for him, he will not leave you. On October 10, when the verdict is passed, it will be that, Mr. Prince Johnson, you cannot carry us because George Weah has been with us for 5 years. If we follow you, Mr. Johnson, we'll be betraying the character and loyalty and trust of the people of Nima. The rest of the counties will not trust us easily. That is what's on the ballot in Nima County. And I have no doubt that Nima County will go with George Weah to vindicate itself.
Honorable Samuel TWEAH, Minister of Finance and Development Planning. Mr. Minister, thank you very much for coming. And Commissioner EUGENE NAGBE.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Sekou, yeah, we had a very good interview. I think the Liberian people themselves they listened to all that the commissioner, for maritime Minister of Finance, they said. It's good to have these kinds of conversations. We hope we can have some another time.
Yes, Clarence.
Yeah, thank you, Soba. Thank you. It was a great day, and we look forward to more of these interactions.
Okay, I'll express.
Yeah, okay, and then we'll go to-
Well, I think we have good exchange. I think the story was told, and they have the platform to tell the story. So, bravo to all.
Take the sports debate, man.